Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm going to go over some macro writing examples. I'm going to be doing open legend dice today. If you're just starting macro writing, I recommend a few basics you should review. If you go to RP Tools and do a search, and just look for my RP Tools name, and then go to my signature, you can find a couple links. One, there's the coding tips, which I recommend you read, and there's also a link on that one that brings you to some of the process and pitfalls you should watch out for using code. And let's see here. I have my two resources here for Open Legend. So we're going to go dive into it right now. This is what you call a function header. This gives you an overall view of how the function is supposed to be used, where you have the function call name, what it expects for parameters, and what it returns. And those items should be also detailed in your header, and a brief description. This is kind of very vague, I would say, description, but it's good enough for what we're doing here. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is get our input variables. So we define those as attribute level, which is abbreviated. Attribute's kind of a long word, but ATTR is usually good enough to know what I mean. And that's going to be the first argument in, and that begins with 0. The input into a function is a JSON array, and JSON arrays always start with 0, so that's why that's that format there. And then there'll be an optional add level, which is advantage. So maybe I want to change that to ADV. And since it's optional, we want to do a check. So we're going to count our number of arguments. So that's a count. And if it's greater than or equal to 2, then we want to set our ADV level. Let's go ahead and change that over here as well. Equal to the incoming argument value. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and set it to 0. And when you have a advantage level of 0, it's just your normal rolls. There's no exploding, there's no extra dice to that effect. Okay, so in the system, they have what they call a tiered dice, and it's based off the attribute level. So let's see, we need to set up some variables to hold the tiered dice levels. Okay, and that's going to be here. These are the scores possible, and these are the dice associated with it. So I'm just going to copy paste this. And there'll be moments of silence. Trying to figure the fastest way to do this. These are going to be in quotes because I don't want to actually use the values of rolling a die. I want the string used to roll the die. I'm not sure. I might actually have a macro for this. Let's see if I do. macro. I do not. Okay, so do this the hard way. Do comma space and comma delete and comma delete and okay. This is going to be our array, and what are we going to call this array? It's a tiered dice based off attributes, so let's call it attribute tiers, tier dice. There we go. We make that array, so JSON append, and then we're going to put in all these other values. Okay, another thing associated with the advantage level is when you add dice, it's only there's only a D6, for example, there. So if you have an advantage of 1, you roll 3d6 instead. So we're gonna have another list of advantage level dice. So let's give that a name. Advantage level dice. And we want to mimic have it like a 1-for-1 type relationship with the above dice. So these first dice are just everything here, except for we're going to have 1d instead of 2 or more. So 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and so on. All right. Now I do have another dice roller I want to use as an example, so I'm going to go to the website and look that up. I think it's just I can find it under dice and then like my name. I'm going to kind of use this as a template. Okay, so we're not going to need this. Okay, we're going to have a keep track of our rolls. So we'll leave that. Number of dice. We don't have that per se. We have to extract that from here if we want to keep track of individual dice, which we do because of the advantage and disadvantage. You want to pick the highest dice. Okay, so instead of this, we still can pick that actually. First we got to figure out how many dice we're rolling. That's going to be based off of the attribute level. So let's get a condition in there. Since it's almost a 1, oh actually, the special condition up here, when there's a 0 attribute level, it's a D20. So I'm going to put that here, and I may have to change it later, but we'll see if that works. Alright, so now it's a 1-for-1. So if you have a 0 attribute, it's going to get these dice. If it's a 1 attribute, then these are your bonus dice. And it helps to put comments in here to help explain what you want to do, even before you do it. Kind of keeps you on track. So the very first part of any function is trying to get all your data into one place. And then after that, you want to process that data, and then the final part will be to output or save it. So in this case, we're building our information here, and then we have the attribute level. Now we gotta figure out what the actual die role is going to be. So I'll leave the comment out for now. It's gonna be kind of simple. So we'll just call it die role for now. And that'll be based on the tier dice. So we're gonna go JSON get, and then we're gonna attribute tier dice. And then we want to put in the attribute level. So whatever it is, this will be the die roll added to the D20 roll. So this will be, I guess, tier roll. Let's call it tier. Tier die. There we go. That works. Dice. This would be more than one. And we're also going to want just the basic roll. We'll just call it roll. And it's going to be 1d20. Alright, so what else do we need? We need to know if the advantage level will give us more dice. We also need to separate the dice from the tier dice. So we go, how about num tier dice? Num tier dice equals, and then it's going to be the very first character of this string. So I guess you can look at the website for functions. If you want to go to the top here. Actually, that's probably the wrong one. I actually don't know. I always keep it bookmarked. The wiki, that is. I always keep a bookmark of it. So these are a list of the functions here. The function I'm thinking of is going to be a string function. And I want to get the first character. So there's an ends with. How about starts with? There we go. That's what we want. So looking at this one, we have a starts with, and then we have a string, and then what we want it to start with, basically. And it's going to be a true or false. Not really what we want. That's just kind of a yes or no thing. We actually want to get the digit from it, or the letter. So I think it might be substring. So we have our initial string, and then the starting position and the ending position. Let's see, does it start with 0? Yeah, it starts at 0. Okay. So we're going to go substring. And the string is going to be the tier dice. And then we want the 0th character and end with the 0 character. Now it's possible it should be 1, but we're going to test that out. So we're going to go to MapTools. We're just going to put something in there. We're going to go substring and then test 0, 0, and hopefully it gives us a T and not an error. Oh, didn't give us anything, so yes, it does have to be a 1. And there we go. Okay, that gives us the first digit. And whenever a string is a number and it's saved into a variable, it then converts it to an actual number. That's important to know when you're adding together strings and numbers together. Also, if something looks like a JSON, excuse me, it'll convert it internally as a JSON. So you can't compare strings and JSONs. Alright, number tier dice. So that gives us our number of dice that we're going to be rolling. Since we already rolled our d20. Alright, so now we want to add to that number if there's an advantage level, or even a disadvantage level. Alright, so if you were to get a 0 for your advantage level, no extra dice. If it's a negative number, or positive number, we're going to add those number of dice to the number of tier dice. We can probably use the same variable. So if, what is it, advantage level is not 0 basically. So if not advantage level, when doing a comparison with numbers, any number that's not 0 is true. So in this case, if it's 0, and I want to say if it's not 0, then we want to take the absolute value of the tier dice. So we have number of tier dice plus the absolute value of the advantage level. That's the 1-to-1 conversion, extra dice right there. And it could be good or it could be bad. I'm thinking actually we need to have that as a separate number now that I think about it. And then we go, we'll just call it add dice. Yeah. We're also going to want to know if we have an advantage or if it's a disadvantage. So is disadd, we'll call it. And that would be equal to if that number is less than 0. You kind of need to know, kind of have like a trinary type problem here where you have a less than, you have 0, and you have greater than. 3 different circumstances. I can figure out what it is by using both the advantage dice and disadd variable. So if disadd is 1, then I know that the dice are going to be subtracted. But if it's 0, I have to see if there's advantage dice. If it's greater than 0, then I know for, then do I even need the disadd? We'll get rid of it for now. Alright, so actually, there's that special circumstance when the attribute level is 0. So what we're going to do here is if attribute level again, if it's a 0, then we want to make it, force it to be 1, basically. But it has to be a max of 1. So we'll take the, actually it'd be the min value of the advanced dice and 1. There we go. Otherwise it's just the dice. Alright, so we have a number of tier dice plus, if the attribute level is basically 0, then take the minimum of the advanced dice and 1. Advantage dice. And that's already been, it's always going to be a positive number. Okay. So it looks to be alright. I like keeping things together, so move this up here, move this here. Now we know what to call this. Get dice info. So now we have our tier dice. We know what that is. We know the absolute value of the advantage dice. And we know the number of tier dice, which is modified by the attribute level. So when passing this value, if it's anything other than 0, that means there is an advantage or disadvantage or whatever. Okay. So that's always that way. Alright, so that's that little section. I think all we have to do now is just roll some dice. Okay, so we're gonna roll exploding dice. The only exception to exploding is if the attribute is 0, so we gotta keep track of that. So we're gonna, instead of dice num, we're gonna go with num tier dice. Okay, and dice sides, we're gonna need that as well. So that's a tier dice. And how about tier sides? Okay, that's going to be the last digits, which could be more than 1. So we'll use a little trick here. This looks like a list if, like, for example, the D was a comma, and we can do a list get using D as a separator. And they all have that format, so we're good there. So we're going to do a list get. And it's going to be of the attribute tier dice. Oh wait. Yeah, that's right. Let's look at the function description. See if it's what we want. So the list and the index and the delimiter. Okay, that's what we want. So attribute tier dice, the attribute level as the index, and then the delimiter. And it's something we'll probably want to test before running everything, but so now we have our tier sides. And we're not going to be using that. Let's get rid of that altogether. Okay, our dice rolls, we're going to keep track of each roll. They're exploding dice. So, that's how we'll do it. Okay. We'll just use the format here. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll put this here, actually. These are the actual dice. These are the actual dice that we're rolling. So instead of getting the sides, we have that information right here. Alright, so we won't be needing this. And instead of using the roll option there, we're going to use another thing here. We're going to use eval. And we're going to take from the, excuse me, the, what is that? Advantage level dice. And that's based off the attribute level. So we need to get that value. So we're going to go JSON get from the AV dice at the attribute level. So it gives us that little string. And I think that's it. That will be the actual roll. Okay, and then we save the roll. Okay. Now the dice result will vary because of the advantage and disadvantages, so we gotta check for that. So let's go with the base case where there's advantage levels is set to 0. So if ADV level, again we'll just use the shortcut not ADV level. So if it's anything but a value, so if it's 0 basically. You can also do that too, you can say equals 0. But I always like the using the not. Okay, so I always started off with code just because most of the time I'll have more than one thing to do, but I might have to back that up. So we're gonna go with we want to pick a list of dice, either the top or the bottom. So there's going to be another if. And that's going to be level dice. Is that right? I wonder. So that's ADV level. That's the ADV level dice. So we want level is greater than 0, then we know it's an advantage. We want to keep the best dice. Oh, okay. This number is always what you keep. So you always roll 3d10. If you have an advantage, say 2, you roll 5d10, keep 3 basically. Alright, so if we go that way, the advantage is greater than 0. Then we want to keep the high dice. We have dice rolls and we have dice keep. Let's call it keep. So we're saving this as a string list. I think there's a function that allows me to keep part of a list. If it doesn't, then we have to probably go to a JSON. So let's find out. So we're going to go back to our wiki, and it's going to be a string list function. Let's see what we have here. This count contains, let's get, probably not. Nope, okay. Let's replace string to list. What's that? Oh, okay. So that's not going to help. So we do need to use JSONs. And the one I'm thinking of okay, let's look at this real quick. Subset. Nope, that's just a check. Set. No, that's not it. I thought there was something where we can like cut off part of the list, like the beginning or the end. Actually, I think JSON get might do that. Yeah, there we go. Start and end of an array. That's what we want. Alright, so let's go back, and we have our dice. The reason why I did this in the first place is it's just easier to use the eval to add everything up, but we can still do that just later. Okay, so what we want to do, where's my, oh here we go, down here. So we want to create that array. Everything's fine there. Okay. So in this case, we do need the sides. That's the number of dice that we're keeping. Oh, that's tier dice. So we have that number already. Okay, got it. So we're gonna go with dice keep equals JSON get, and then we have all our rolls, which are the dice rolls. Oh, we have to sort those. So they'll probably be, we'll have to sort them no matter what, so we'll just do that outside of the condition there. So dice rolls equals JSON sort. This is now a JSON. And dice rolls, and then we want to go, maybe not. So we want to do either reverse order or normal order, depending on if it's advantage or not. Alright, so in this case, maybe we do want here. So we go to JSON sort, and we're going to sort those dice rolls. and we're going to do them from high to low. So looking at the function, I hit the shift control space, direction, ascending and descending. Okay, so we want descending, high to low. So we sorted the dice, and then we want to get from the start position of 0 to the number of tier dice. Yeah, that's it. No, that's what was rolled. We want the actual tier dice. I think +1. Something else we need to test real quick. So we'll go over here. We're going to just do a JSON get, and then we're going to create an array real quick. And we're just going to do 3, 2, 1. Alright, so from that, we want to start at 0, and then see what 2 gives us if we want the first 2. 2 technically would be 0, 1, 2 would be the third position, but I think 2 is basically this +1. Just to put it simply. Okay, make sure I got my parentheses in the right place. We do want to see the output, so let's make that an R. And then, no, it gives us 3, 2, 1. So what we want is the value -1. So 0 and 1 is what's going to give us for 2 positions. Okay. So in this case, we want tier dice -1. And that should give us the correct dice. I think so the false condition there is we want to also have a dice keep, but it's just going to be the actual dice rolls. Do we want to sort them? Maybe for convenience. Yeah, sure, we'll sort them. And we'll make it high to low. Alright, and we know the other condition has to be greater than 0 because the 0 case is already taken care of right here. I'm going to make that ascending, and it's going to be the same number of dice right there. Get keeper dice. Now, there's only one statement here, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to leave it the way it is because it looks nicer that way, I guess. But I could put them all in one line here. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, time to get the result. Here we're using evaluation. You can still do that. You know what? I just thought of something. If oh yeah, can remember that 0 condition still. I think this takes care of it though. So it would roll 2 d20s. Oh, it actually rolls 1 d20. Because 0 attribute, tier dice would be what? Get tier dice. That would be here. The number of tier dice. Be a 1. But it's only if there's an advantage. Doesn't matter. Or disadvantage. Okay. Oh, but we do have to substitute it for this die. Alright, so got one more condition here. If oh, maybe we have to put that inside of the other one. Okay, this does the work for us, so we're okay. But if attribute level equals 0, it's basically not true. I think we're going to change the role maybe. Maybe. You want to show both dice though. Both rolls. So let's get the result of the keeper dice first. Keep result. And in order to get this to the right format, we need to change it to a list, basically. So I'm going to leave the dice rolls as an array, so we'll have something special for that. JSON, let's see, rolls list. There we go. JSON to list. Dice rolls, and that's all we need. What this line does here is it evaluates basically a function. It's going to be some, it'll look something like this, for example. If I had a bunch of rolls, 1D, something like this, it would look like sum 1, 3, 6. And then it would try to evaluate that as a string. So that's this little trick I came up with. Okay, so the keep result isn't the final result, so there we go. We have to add the d20 as well. So we'll do that as well. Okay, so just for output purposes, we'll append the die roll, or I guess the dice, the keeper. No, let's see. We want to show all the dice. Really should be a separate output though. Yeah, we'll just do a separate output. Okay, this is where we check for the attribute 0. So if attribute level oh wait, this is if it's 0. It's a two-parter. We have to know if it's a positive or a negative. This is probably a better way to do it. Okay, it's a two-parter. So if it's 0, just make it. This is going to be for readability. I usually don't do it this way. If it equals 0 and not, so basically it's a non-zero value. Now let's do the other way as well. And it's greater than 0. Our result is going to be an advantage. So we want to take the max of the roll or the keep dice result. And I'm going to do the same thing except for the opposite. So if it equals 0 and it's less than 0, then dice result is the minimum. Okay, so this is for just the attribute level is 0. So when it's not, so if it's greater than 0, and I don't think we care what the add level is, because that's taking care of what the actual dice that we keep. Here's a question. Nope, okay. I keep thinking that the results may differ depending on what the rolls are for each die. But I take care of that though, so because I roll all the dice and I take the best ones. Okay. So when it's greater than, it's going to be the keeper dice. Did I already convert it? Yes, I did. Oh, and I have a result too. Okay. Then I guess I only need this if it has a value. Okay. So if level is not 0, basically, then it equals the keep result. Okay. So that's the final values. So I have dice result. So get dice total. Oh, did we do the keep result? Right, the D20s. The max, okay. I think this is roll plus keep result. Okay. All right, now for the output. So we're gonna create a tooltip. Actually, it's not an actual output. It's a tooltip. Okay, so for the tooltip, we'll change this slightly here. Here we have dice num, dice sides. We don't want to do that. So we'll get rid of that. What we do want is the dice expression plus the advantage. Maybe we want to include the attribute level as well. Maybe make a table out of it. We'll just keep it simple for now, I guess. Get fancy with it later. So we'll just go with the die expression. So there's going to be 2 of them. We want to do add or disadd maybe. Alright, so let's get the tier dice. Does that change at all? Okay, so we want the tier dice. That's the actual string in here. So we'll put in tier dice. And then the value, we're going to do this as, oh, how they do that? Let's look that up. We're going to go to string format, and I want to do a number, but I want it to be show the plus sign or the minus sign. And if we go to string format, I know it has a %d, but it'd be like a 0 or a plus or something like that. Okay, so I think it's up here. So we want plus, basically shows a sign. D, I guess. A number of digits. It's X. %D, there we go. Oh, it's for decimal. We don't want that. Oh, what the heck is that called? I think this is plus 0D. Let's try test that out. String format. Then we're going to use %, 0D, and then we'll have the number 2. Nope. How about D0? I want to show positive number there. Oh, maybe it's plus. Let's do a negative number. Oh, that's it, okay. So % plus D. So % shows it's a variable. Basically show the symbol, plus or minus, then D for decimal, as far as like digits go. I think if I put like a number in there somewhere, we'll say 2. Let's see if that does like 2 digits. Maybe not there. How about 2 there? Well, that doesn't help. I think that just does, yeah. That just puts the number 2 in there. Alright, so % plus D. So % plus D. And then we're going to have our string, and then outside the string, we're going to want our value to go there. That's going to be the number of dice, or the advantage. But we only want to do it if there's an actual, that sucks. What if I put a blank there? Like an empty string. Does not like that. So there's no advantage, so maybe have the if check before there. So if basically if it's not 0, then our string's gonna look like this. So %D, that will put in the advantage level. That doesn't help though, does it? Call it just ADV. So an example would be, say for example I had a +1 advantage, I'd have 2d6 +1 advantage, or 2d6 -2 advantage. As long as it had a value, be an advantage. And have a negative advantage is obvious, it's a disadvantage. We don't need to change the text of that. Okay, and then we want to show the dice rolls. So let's start off with the actual roll, the D20 roll. There's only one, right? Oh, there's an eval. Why am I doing that there? We don't want to do that. We want to keep the original role. Go primary role. Now we do want to use that bottom somewhere down here. Okay, so now that's correct. So we're going to show first the actual primary role. And then yeah, probably better as a table. So we have a primary role, and then we have our keep dice. It's going to be in the format of an array, but that looks pretty good though, so we'll leave that. So keep dice, dice keep. And I guess all dice. That's going to be everything that was rolled, which is dice rolls. And then we'll go total. We'll also make that bold. Now this is the tooltip, so this is not all being printed out. Dice result. Okay, I think, oh, not quite done. That's just the case where there's an advantage. And the other condition, put that down there. We'll start off with this as a starting point. So I'm going to show that. I'm not going to show any advantage. Then it's going to be the primary role, which we keep. Then the keep dice, which is actually the all dice as well, so. And the total is the result. End of tooltip. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Okay. Here's our tooltip, and that's the end of the macro. So, in theory, we're done. Now we gotta test it out. So we should write a macro to test it out. So let's test. Okay, what we're gonna do here is should we do an input? Let's just pick random numbers, I guess. We'll do it this way. We'll show the result and then the tooltip as well. So result equals, then we'll put the function, which is role open legend, and then we'll just put in some numbers. We'll say as an attribute of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll try 7. And we'll do it with different numbers. Oh, maybe just do a random. There we go. How about 1d10? And we'll say -5 to +5. So it's going to be 11, 1d11 minus 6. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so that's the result, and then whatever the result of that is, then we're going to add another string, and then we're going to go with tooltip. And it's going to be dice tooltip. Yep. Now this is generated in this function over here. This normally wouldn't be accessible, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So we don't actually need a macro for this. I can just copy paste that. All right, so now let's put this in MapTool. So we're going to copy it, and then we're going to go to our import tool, save it, pop it up there, and then we need to run the onCampaign load. Let's get rid of this. So it defines the macro, and just to test it out, I'm going to say roll well, and then we'll just put some numbers in there. We'll say 6 and 2. Oh, got an error. So we're looking at num tier dice. It's in the body of the roll. Make sure we have all our ending and starting brackets and parentheses and stuff. Oh, there's an extra one here. There we go, found it. That's usually the biggest thing I always do, is either forget it or have a mistype. So we'll save it. It's already defined, so we don't need to redefine it. So just run it again. Boom, 18. Now, since we're not running an actual macro, we got to actually put the tooltip result. It's a separate thing. We'll put a space. Let's see what happens here. Dice. That's not how dice. Did not like that. Oh, I know why. I'm being dumb. Again, this is a special macro. So we're going to reduce that. Oh. What we're going to do is we're going to load this whole token that we have on here. All the macros. Copy them. And then over here, I don't think I have anything. Let's do this. Or a copy over that. Okay, so now on campaign load, we want to change that. We want to include this one. Like in my previous video, we want to specify this as sharing the scope with the calling macro. So it gives, so we can access the values inside of this function. So this doesn't change, but this one does. So whenever we change on campaign load, we have to reload it. So clear this, put in that one function, save it, rerun this, and then let's try that previous run. There we go. So we got the 12, and then we have the Tooltip 12. So it's a 2d8 roll. Roll the 5, and keep the 6 and 1. So those are the actual dice that you rolled. So out of a d8, roll the 6 and a 1. And the total's 12 is 5, plus 7 is 12. Alright, I think that's could be clearer, but that's up to the person who requested this to clean up and organize to his way he wants it. Okay, so I think that's all. Alright, that's kind of a long video, but hope you learned something. I'm going to go ahead and share this token as well. What we'll do here is we'll copy one of these. Oh, it actually has its own here. So we can just set the different things right here. So we'll go 94, and then we'll give it a color like red. So font color now, color red. Okay, apply to selected. That's not going to be a problem. Alright, so that little change there. And save it and watch the button change. Ugh. Gonna need a font color white for that. Of course, you can always just do this in the editor too. In fact, a lot of times I like just doing this normal colors like aqua. Make this back to black. But now that we changed it here, we gotta close this, reopen it, load all the macros. So make sure our copy is the most current copy. Yeah, we're fine with that. Okay. So that's all saved up. Well, I think that's all, and thank you for watching. See you next time.